Hi, in today's video we will learn how to find the solution of simple simultaneous equations using graph. In the previous videos we discussed how to find the solution of simple simultaneous equations using the method of substitution and the method of elimination. Here we will use graphs to solve the given simple simultaneous equations. So in order to do this, we need to know well about graphs. Like we need to know how to mark the points on a graph sheet in an appropriate manner. A graph sheet can be divided into 4 parts using a horizontal line and a vertical line. The horizontal line denotes the x-axis. So on the right side we have positive x-axis and on the left side we have negative x-axis. And the vertical line stands for y-axis. So the upper part stands for positive y-axis and the lower part stands for negative y-axis. The point where the x-axis and y-axis meet is called the origin. Now these two lines have divided the graph sheet into 4 parts. So these two lines will divide your graph sheet into 4 parts. Each part is called a quadrant. So we have 4 quadrants here. This is the first quadrant. This is the second. This is the third. And this is the fourth quadrant. So how do we mark our points on a graph sheet? If you look at the first quadrant, it lies between positive x and positive y. So the values of x and y both will be positive. So when you mark a point, you will have to need 2 coordinates, x and y. X is called abscissa and the value of y is called originate. So you will have to need this x comma y for marking your point. For example, I want to mark 2 comma 3. So 2 stands for the value of x and 3 denotes y. So we will check on our x-axis where our 2 falls. Now our 2 falls here. And we will check on our y-axis where 3 falls. So 3 falls here. So wherever if you draw perpendiculars from 2 and draw a perpendicular from 3 here, the point where the 2 lines meet, that point is 2 comma 3. So if you want to mark 3 comma 2, you have to check where the perpendicular line from 3 and the perpendicular line from 2 meets. That point is 3 comma 2. This is the way we will mark or plot points on a graph sheet. So in the first quadrant, x and y both will be positive. If we move to the second quadrant lies between negative x-axis and positive y-axis. So the value of x is negative and the value of y is positive. The third quadrant lies between negative x-axis and negative y-axis. So both the values will be negative. The fourth quadrant lies between negative y-axis and positive x-axis. So the value of x will be positive and the value of y will be negative. Now if you want to mark 3 comma minus 3. So the value of x is positive and the value of y is negative. So x is positive and y is negative. This point, we will name it as R. The point R will lie in the fourth quadrant. If I have a point P minus 3 comma 3. So my x is negative and y is positive. So x is negative and y is positive in the second quadrant. So this particular point P will lie in the second quadrant. If there is a point A whose abscissa is 0 and the ordinate is 1. The value of x here is 0. If the value of x is 0, the point will lie on y-axis. So, this point has x value 0 and y value 1. That means the x value is 0 and the y value is 1. The particular point will lie here. 0, 1 is here. So whenever you have your x value 0, the point will lie on y-axis. The same way, if I have a point whose y value is 0, the ordinate is 0. So when y is 0, that particular point will lie on x-axis. So now I have the x abscissa as 1 and the ordinate as 0. So x is 1 and ordinate is 0. So it will lie on this place. So it lies on the x-axis. So remember this, whenever your x is 0, that point will lie on y-axis. Whenever the y is 0, that particular point will lie on x-axis. Here I have a simple equation, x plus 2y is equal to 7. Now, if I substitute value of y as 1, if I substitute the value of y as 1 here, the equation becomes x plus 2 into 1, which is x plus 2 is equal to 7. So when 2 goes to the other side, it becomes minus 2, 7 minus 2, 5. So the value of x is 5. So the point here is 5, 1. Remember, always we need to write it in the form of x, y. So 5, 1. Now, if y is equal to 2. Now, when I substitute y as 2 here, it becomes 2 2s are 4. 4 goes to the other side, it becomes minus 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Now, I get 2, 3. If y is equal to 0. So, if y is 0, this entire term becomes 0. X is equal to 7. I'm sorry, here you need to write x first. So 3, 2. Here the value of x is 7 and the value of y is 0. So this is 3, 2. I made a mistake. So the value of x should be written first and the value of y second. So 5, 1, 3, 2, 7, 0. If y is negative, I have minus 1. If the value of y is minus 1, this entire term becomes negative. 2 into minus 1 is minus 2. When minus 2 goes to the other side, it becomes plus 2. So 7 plus 2 is 9. The value of x is 9. Therefore, my point is 9, minus 1. Now, I have 4 different points. Now, if I plot these points on a graph sheet and I join them, I will get a straight line in a graph sheet. So, every simple equation will give you a straight line. So, a straight line on a graph sheet represents a simple equation. So, in order to solve simple simultaneous equations, you will be given 2 equations. So, the first equation will give you a straight line. Another equation will give you a straight line. The point of, one equation will give you a straight line, another equation will give you a straight line. So wherever the 2 lines meet, you have to find the point over there. This point is the solution. You have to find the x coordinate and the y coordinate of the intersecting point of the 2 lines. This is the straight line which you got from the first equation. This is the straight line which you will get from the second equation. Wherever these 2 lines meet, that point is the solution for your simple simultaneous equations. If those 2 lines, for example, the first equation gives a line like this and the second equation gives a line like this, and if they are parallel to each other, that means it has no solution. When 2 lines don't meet and if they are parallel. Parallel lines will never meet. That means you have no solution for that set of equations. You will understand it better when we solve it on a graph sheet. So here I will show you an example by plotting points on the graph sheet and finding the solution. Here I have two equations. X minus 2y is equal to minus 11 and x minus y is equal to minus 2. So we have to solve the two equations using graph. So the first step which we will do here is take the first equation and find the value of x or y. Here I will find the value of x. X is equal to minus 11 plus 2y. So the value of x is minus 11 plus 2y. Now we don't know the value of x or the value of y. So we have to form a table by assuming values for y. We will give our values for y and we will find the value of x by substituting the value of y in this particular equation. So the value of x is dependent on the value of y. Now I will have to form a table. Now for y I will assume values and I will calculate the values of x based on the values of y which I give. So here I am giving minus 1, 0, 1, 2 as the values of y. So I start with a negative value, go to 0 and give two positive values. You can assume your own values for y. But the value of x, we will have to calculate it based on this equation. Now for the first value, I will have to substitute minus 1 in the place of y. So 2 into minus 1 gives me minus 2. Minus 2 and minus 11 gives me minus 13. So the value of x is minus 13 and the value of y is minus 1. Now again here I substitute the value of y as 0. So my x becomes minus 11 plus 2 into 0 which is 0. So the value of x is minus 11 plus 0 which is minus 11. Next, I have the value of y as 1. When I substitute 1 here, 2 into 1 becomes 2. Minus 11 plus 2 will give me minus 9. Next, the value of y is 2. 2 into 2 is 4. Minus 11 plus 4 gives me minus 7. So, I have got my x values by assuming my own values for y. I will calculate the x values based on this equation. From this table, I have got 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first point has its abscissa are minus 13 and its ordinate as minus 1. The second point has its abscissa minus 11 and its ordinate as 0. The third point is minus 9, 1. And the fourth point is minus 7, 2. Now I formed a table and I got 4 points. When I join these points, I will get a straight line because my equation is a simple equation. Now the same thing we will repeat with the second equation. Now my second equation is x minus y is equal to minus 2. Now in the same way, if I had found the value of x here, in this equation also I will find the value of x. If I had found the value of y here, I will follow the same. Now since I found x here, I will find the value of x here as x is equal to minus 2 plus y. So I will assume values for y and calculate the values of x by substituting the value of y in this equation. So I am using the same values which I used here, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. So minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. Now when I substitute minus 1 in the place of y, minus 2 minus 1 will give me minus 3. When I substitute 0, minus 2 plus 0 is minus 2. When I substitute 1, minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. And when I substitute 2 here, minus 2 plus 2 gives me 0. Again from this equation, I form the table, and from this table, I have got 4 points. Minus 3, minus 1. Remember, always write x first. The abscissa should be first and the ordinate at the second. Minus 2, 0. So I told you whenever your y value is 0, this particular point will lie on the x-axis. Next, 1, minus 1 and 2, I made a mistake here. We have to write x value first. So minus 1, 1 and 0, 2. So since our x is 0, that means this particular point will lie on the y-axis. Here y is 0, it will lie on x-axis. Here x is 0, this particular point will lie on the y-axis. Now we will plot these 4 points and these 4 points on the graph sheet. When we join these 4 points, we will get a straight line. And when we do the same with these 4 points, we will get another straight line. The point where these two straight lines meet. So from here, we will get one straight line. And from here, we will get another straight line. The point where the two straight lines meet, that is our solution. So we have to find the x, y at this point. Here I have taken a graph sheet and I have divided it into 4 quadrants. The first, second, third and fourth. This is my positive x-axis, this is my negative x-axis, this is my positive y-axis and this is my negative y-axis. So here I have taken one square as 2 units. So along x-axis I have taken one square as 2 units. And along y-axis also I have taken one square as 2 units. So we need to keep our intervals uniform. So 0 plus 2 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10, 12, 14 and so on. Similarly, the same thing I have to do in the negative side. Minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 8 up to minus 14. Our values, x has maximum value of negative 13. So I plotted till minus 14. Even along y-axis I have taken in intervals of 2. So this is my positive x, positive y and negative y. So in x-axis 1 square is equal to 2 units and along y-axis also 1 square is equal to 2 units. Now on this graph sheet we will mark our points. We will plot our points. So these are the 4 points which we got from our first table and these are the 4 points which we got from the second table. So this set will give us a straight line and this set will give us a straight line, and wherever the two lines meet, that is our solution. The point where the two lines meet is our solution. Now we will plot the first point, minus 13, minus 1. So x is minus 13 and y is minus 1. So both are negative. When both are negative, it will fall on the third quadrant. So minus 13 is a abscissa and minus 1 is a ordinate. So minus 13 lies between minus 12 and minus 14. So this is minus 12 and this is minus 14. So this middle line is minus 13. And minus 1 on the y-axis lies between 0 and 2. So the middle line is minus 1 and this is minus 13. So wherever this minus 13 and minus 1 meets, that is our point minus 13, minus 1. So similarly, I mark the next point, minus 11, 0. When y is 0, the point lies on x-axis. So we have to check where our minus 11 lies on x-axis. So minus 11 lies between minus 10 and minus 12. So this is our minus 11. This middle line is our minus 11. Next, minus 9, 1. So minus 9 lies between minus 8 and minus 10, and 1 lies here above 0 and below 2. The middle line is 1. So this is 1 and this is minus 9. So they meet at this point. The last point to be marked here is minus 7, 2. So I have my first point here, second point here, third point here. Next it is minus 7, 2. We know minus 7 lies between minus 6 and minus 8. So this is minus 7. The middle line is minus 7 and 2 is obviously seen here. So minus 7, 2 is this point. Now we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the 4 points. So this point is minus 13, minus 1. This point is minus 11, 0. This point is minus 9, 1. This point is minus 7, 2. Now we will join these lines. We will join these points so that we get a line. We will get a line only till here. If we need to meet the second line, we will have to extend it. So draw a big line. Try to extend it upwards. Now I joined those 4 points. So I got a line which I extended it so that it should meet with the other line. So join those 4 points and extend the line. Now we got our first line. This is the line for the first equation. So what was the first equation? X minus 2y is minus 11. We formed a table from that equation and got 4 points. So this particular line which we marked belongs to the first equation. So it represents the first equation, which is x minus 2y is equal to minus 11. So this line represents x minus 2y is equal to minus 11. Now we will plot our second set. We plotted this set. Now we will plot the second set, which we got from table 2, which was derived from the second equation, which is x minus y is equal to minus 2. So our first point is minus 3, minus 1. So x is minus 3 and y is minus 1. So x is minus 3 and y is minus 1. They meet here. Next I have x as minus 2 and y as 0. Now I have the x value minus 2 and y is 0. So I mark it here. The next one is minus 1, 1. I have minus 1 here and 1 here, which will meet here. Minus 1 is the middle line and 1 is the middle line between 0 and 2. So this is my third point. And the last point is 0, 2. When x is 0, y is 2. The particular point will lie on y-axis. So 0, 2. Now this is my point. I have 4 points. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I mark the 4 points minus 3, minus 1, minus 2, 0, minus 1, 1 and 0, 2. Now I will join this and extend it in such a way that it will meet this line at some point. Now I join these 4 points and I got a line. This straight line represents the second equation, x minus y is equal to minus 2. So this line represents x minus y is equal to minus 2. This line represents the equation x minus y is equal to minus 2. Now I got a line for the first equation and I got a line for the second equation. The meeting point of these two lines is here at this point. So the meeting point is here. So this point is our solution. So this is our solution. Now to find the x, y, we have to check where this x falls. It falls exactly at the middle line between 6 and 8, which is 7, and our y lies exactly between 8 and 10, which is 9. So 7, 9 is the solution. Now let us check whether it is satisfying both our equations. Now if I put 7 here and 9 here, 7 minus 9 gives me minus 2. And if I put 7 here and 9 here, minus 2 into 9 gives me minus 18. Minus 18 plus 7 is minus 11. Therefore, 7, 9 satisfies both our equations. So, this is our solution. So, I'll just repeat the steps. I have two equations given. From the first equation, I will find the value of x and form a table by assuming the values of y and substituting those values here and finding the values of x. So, I get 4 points from here. The same thing I will do with the second equation. I will find the value of x from the second equation and I will substitute the assumed values of y here to find the values of x. From there I get my points. I will plot this set of points and this set of points on a graph sheet, and when I join the first set I get a straight line, and when I join the second set I get another straight line. The point of intersection of these two lines is the solution for our equations. So substitute these values in your equations and check whether it is satisfying. So finally, this is the solution for the simple simultaneous equation. To find it easy to solve these types of equations using a graph sheet, we require practice. So hope you will practice more sets of equations and find this method easy. Thank you.